This happened to me about 3 weeks ago, and I've been debating ever since whether to actually make a video about it. It really troubled me. I mean, I can't remember being as scared as that for a long time, if ever. It's actually changed how I live, and I'll go into that in a little bit more detail just so that you totally understand. But first, let's go over what Wikipedia says. That trustworthy, good old Wikipedia. It says the main symptom of sleep paralysis is being unable to move or speak during awakening. Now, that bit is true. But it then goes on to say imagined sounds such as humming, hissing, static, zapping, and buzzing noises are reported during sleep paralysis. There was nothing imagined about what happened to me. It goes on about hypnagogic hallucinations, etc., but you can all read. But to be fair, none of this really happened to me. None of what they're saying here was what I experienced. What I experienced was real, it was tangible. Even this here doesn't really cover it. I didn't feel choked. I wasn't pushed forcefully against my bed, but I was motionless, and there was definitely something evil there. I could feel it. So I said that I'd changed my life because of this, and I have. Right, I have Asperger's, so that bothers me in a few different ways, but when I'm trying to get to sleep, I can't do with noise or being touched. Yeah, it's weird, but it bothers me a bit. So I'm married and have been for 7 years now, and during those 7 years I've obviously been sleeping with my wife. But from the middle of last year I was going through some medical things, so I wasn't sleeping great anyway. So for a time I was sleeping in our spare bedroom on my own. And this was never going to be a permanent thing, just temporary while I got over the medical situation that was stopping me from getting a good night's sleep. And then with Karen making noises next to me and touching me with her elbow and stuff like that, we both just thought it was better that I slept in there for a while. So this is where I was sleeping for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 months. And funny thing is, I'm storing loads and loads of Christian books for my friend while he's in Italy. Now, whether that's got anything to do with what happened, I don't know, but I just think it's quite funny, really. There's boxes and boxes of them, but I thought I'd just take a few out to show you, really. Hopefully that's set the scene for you now, so you can understand a little bit better where I'm coming from. So, to the attack. As I said, this happened about 3 weeks ago, and from what I can remember, everything was totally normal. Karen came up to bed. I stayed downstairs watching TV for a little bit longer, and then I came to bed. Probably read my Bible or one of my friend's books for a while, and went to sleep. Now, I said that I don't like being touched in my sleep, and I don't like noise and things. Well, also, I forgot to say that I don't like light, so I was sleeping in a pitch black room with the door shut. So if there was anything to see, I just didn't see it. So I just want to say that. I'm not very good at explaining things. It's because of the Asperger's, but I'm going to do my best here to try and tell you what happened. So the first I knew about it was when I opened my eyes. Obviously I was in a dark room, I could see nothing, but I couldn't move, and that scared me from the get-go. I had an overwhelming sense of something horrible from the pits of hell. And then to my left hand side, near my left shoulder, the mattress was pressed down quite forcefully, slowly, but with a lot of weight behind it. And then it was pressed down in a similar kind of place, a few inches away from where it had first been pressed down. By now, as you can imagine, I was getting pretty scared. I couldn't move, I couldn't see, and my mattress was being pressed down next to me. I just had an overwhelming feeling that something wanted to get me. That's how it sounds silly, but that's how I felt. Pure hatred towards me, like it was creeping around. And I think it's at this point that I probably would have started saying Jesus. Just that's all I knew how to say. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And at first I was saying it quietly, I wasn't repeating it, but it was just Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And then I heard the most demonic growl underneath my bed, and as you saw on the photo, there is no underneath to my bed. We had a dog, he died a couple of years ago, but the growl was nothing like a dog. It was deeper and more threatening. By now, my cries for Jesus were just getting louder and louder and louder as I was getting more and more and more scared. I thought it would never end. I thought I was locked in there forever. And then I felt a hot poke in my left buttock. And I was just totally screaming for Jesus by now. And next thing I knew, my wife had come in. She'd heard me wailing. That's how she described it anyway. Well, me there thinking I was shouting Jesus, 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 and all she heard was this strange wailing, which she came in to investigate. Apparently that can happen during sleep paralysis. You think you're saying something, but your mouth doesn't move properly. So anyway, as soon as she came in, I snapped out of it, quickly told her what had gone on while getting in our main bed together. Once in there, I proceeded to tell her what had happened. Seriously freaked her out. I was still shaking, so we didn't get much sleep that night. I think it took her quite a while to get to sleep, and I was too scared to shut my eyes again. I've not slept in there since. For about 3 weeks now I've been sleeping with my wife in bed with my earplugs in, and I have no intentions of going back. But I do wonder why this happened. With everything that's going on in the world now, was it, I don't know, to reaffirm my trust and my faith in Jesus Christ? Because if it were a test, I passed with flying colours, because Jesus was the only name I was shouting, the only person I knew that could save me from that. And though he didn't intervene directly, my wife did come in and break whatever spell was on me. And this has happened before to me, but probably not for 7, 8 years. I used to live in this house here, and it's owned by the church in Warwick where I live. And even in a church building it happened. Now it wasn't as bad as this, but I was still paralysed, couldn't move, couldn't see, and had an overwhelming fear. Karen's had it happen to her here, but to a lesser extent. So if anybody's got any ideas as to why this happens, please let me know. One good thing has come out of this. I now pray a lot more than what I used to. My prayer life wasn't great, I'll be totally honest. But now it's getting a lot better and I'm trusting in Jesus more. I pray every night before I come to bed against demonic attacks, against the terror that they bring for me and Karen. And so far Jesus has been good. So I suppose my overriding message through all of this is just trust in Jesus. I've got more peace lately than I've had in a long time, and that's totally down to Christ. I'm not bothered about anything. This whole pandemic thing that's going on, I'm not at all worried. I don't believe in it anyway, but I have total peace through Christ, who strengthens me.